I'm Jim Collison and live from Omaha, Nebraska, and the Gallup offices in India. This is Gallup's Call to Coach, recorded on November 8th, 2016. Call to Coach is a resource for those who want to help others discover and use their strengths. We have Gallup experts and independent strengths coaches share tactics, insights, and strategies to help coaches maximize the talent of individuals, teams, and organizations around the world. If you have questions during this live webcast, we have a chat room available for you right below the main video window, right down there. If you just look down there, you can sign in to it. There's a log in button, bottom left-hand corner. Choose it, choose the guest account, and then put your information in and hit submit, and that will put you in the chat room. If you're listening to the recorded version or have questions about custom strengths coaching solutions for small, medium, or large organizations, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com, or use the contact form right there on the live page. Don't forget to visit the Gallup Strengths Center, just gallupstrengthscenter.com. For all your coaching resources and StrengthsFinder training needs, you can also catch the video on both streaming and now downloadable audio for offline listening. If you want to recapture that time in a car, on a train, or in a plane, a great way to listen to these webcasts are available both in audio and video forms, available for you on our coaches blog, and all the instructions to get them subscribed. Go out to coaching.gallup.com. Pooja Luthra is our host today. She works as an advanced consultant in the Gallup office in Delhi. Pooja, it's always great to see you. Welcome to another Call to Coach.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning. Great to see you too. Everyone, welcome. Our guest for today is Aseem Hanspal. Excited to have you with us, Aseem. Just as a quick introduction for Aseem, of course, he's a certified Gallup coach, but more importantly, he's the co-founder and principal consultant at a business consulting firm that he started himself in 2010. It's called Scope Business Consulting. Before that, he worked with L&T, Max New York Life, and other organizations in various leadership roles before he decided to venture out into his own consulting. His forte has largely been owner-managed companies and setting up their strategy, processes, people, etc., going the whole route. And as we hear about 5 minutes ago, he was just telling us that he's actually in the midst of writing a book on his learnings around owner-managed companies. So excited to hear about that as well, Aseem, and we'll pick your brain on that a little bit as well as we go along. Besides consulting with owner-managed companies, he's very passionate about learning and development, which is something that we learned in the 2 courses that he's attended with Gallup, and always shared his passion for training managers and making sure how to take them to the next level is something that he's been keen on doing and working a lot with teams as well. So welcome, Aseem. It's great to see you again. As we traditionally start, let's start a little bit by knowing about your top 5, and we'll take it from there.
Good morning, Pooja. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Good morning, Jim. I'm always happy to be here, with people from Gallup, because Gallup has been a huge impact on me for the last 2.5 years, on me as well as my organization. In fact, very interestingly, I got my assessment done way back in 2010 when I got this book on a bookstore, and I brought it, and there was a code inside that, and then from there I got interested. And then 2 years back when I got more into this, and I attended this certified coach program, and Pooja, you were one of my trainer. It was an eye opener for me when I started knowing more about myself. So my top 5, Pooja, are number 1 is significance. Then I got focus, achiever, self-assurance, and woo. I would also add the 6th here, which is maximizer, because that's a pretty dominant strength in me. So that's what I am. Now on generally whenever you do this test and you get your strengths, sometimes you feel, oh, this is me. Sometimes you feel this is not me. And that's what exactly happened with me. When I got it, I said, okay, these strengths, focus, achiever, woo, yeah, this is me. Self-assurance, I could not relate much with significance. And I was more concerned about why there is no developer or learner. Because I'm in the area of coaching, I'm in the area of training, I develop people. And so when my coaching happened just after the training program, so I asked this same question. And, I got a fantastic insight about strengths at that time, which was a huge buildup on all the knowledge I gathered during my, training program with you guys. So while we were talking, and she asked me some questions, and suddenly we realized that for developing people, I'm not using my strength, which is developer, because way down, but I'm more come from maximizer, because I want to create an output. I want to create best out of people, best out of situations. So because the input for that output is going to be developing people, making them learn things. So maximizer is a very dominant strength in me. And learning comes from self-assurance. Now that's an amazing insight for me, that it is not about a particular strength, but these are, as we call it, natural talents. And if they're in you, and if you work on them and make them strength, whatever you are doing, you can achieve in a big way. Now, significance was not a very mature strength in me, although it happened at number one. But it has a lot of we call them edges, which were there, and knowing about them, it helped me that I have to place appreciation at the right place. I don't have to think only about myself and my work. I have to think beyond that, and I'm working on that. I worked on that. It has helped me. But strength number two, focus, which has helped me. And when I look back in my even work, when I was working in different organizations at various roles, I think focus and self-assurance, these are the two strengths which have been very strong in me. I think they were very mature, and focus helps me keeping everybody on the point. So when I work with teams and we are working on a project, as I shared, nowadays I largely work on various consulting projects with the help of my team. So it happens at times, people lose track, people go, but focus strength in me brings them back, and I'm able to pinpoint, hey guys, let's see where we are heading. I want to see, and then achiever on that, I want to see every day how I'm moving forward, where I am today, what is the milestone, what are the measure of success. Now these two strengths in combination has been helping me achieving in a big way, and awareness of them helped you in a bigger way, because now I know how I can use them in a better way. Coming to self-assurance and woo. Now, self-assurance always help me. I'm overconfident at times. My wife was telling me that, you have this Gallup called Coach Live. Go out, look at some views, read something. And I was telling, don't worry, I'll manage. I've been working. So this happens. But also this self-assurance has given me a lot of insights about how I conduct myself, how I create those ambitious goals, how I'm confident about them. And many times what happens, my colleagues tell me, there is some bad news has happened. And I take it very positively and I say, don't worry, we'll find out a way out. And then I go out and start looking at various things, how we can find out what is the solution which is possible. I think self-assurance is one strength which has made me a highly solution-oriented person. And I always get confident that there must be a way. There has to be a way. If this is a problem, there has to be a way. Woo and maximizer works fantastically for me, I think, in a combination. And, I love meeting new people. I was just sharing with Jim, when I was in USA, I visited your New York office, I visited your Washington office. I met a lot of people. And otherwise also being into sales for many years, I love meeting people and I love going and meeting them out. I'm pretty confident about them. And today I'm able to, I'm able to also create a kind of circle along with that, which is huge, where I'm going to impact. And if you see, largely my strengths, top five, are in influence and execution. So I'm able to create, and these strengths are working, I'll say, very strongly for me. And I've been lucky to build them further, which are talents and not strengths today, being conscious about them, and pretty confident with these strengths around me, in me, in fact.
Great, great. It's always nice to see the level of clarity when one has around their talents, and the more you invest into it, and the clarity clearly shows. I have a quick question around the application, the self awareness part of it is, of course, it's quite evident that it's worked for you. Even when you attended the course at that time, also you were into your own space of business consulting, if I remember correctly. So tell me, once having done the course, which means once having become a certified coach in the idea of strengths-based development, how did that fit into the idea of business consulting that you were doing? So how did you sort of see the whole thing come together?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Actually, it changed entire approach towards my business, to be honest with you. Generally, whenever you go to a client for training or business consulting purpose, where we focus on areas of improvement. Yeah. We focus on, this is not happening, how are we going to build it up? And my clients used to talk, and I also used to talk the same. I used to say, okay, this is your weak area. Let's build it. But this knowledge about Strength Finder, this knowledge about this whole science, call it science today, it changed my approach towards my client also. Now I started talking to them about, let's talk about what is doing good and let's build on that. Now this suddenly changed perspective in the mind of client also. And he started asking, what are you saying, Aseem? I'm saying this is not working, and you're saying, let me talk. First tell me what is working. Now that is what is changed. And I started talking to clients that, let's not focus on what is not working, because you have to make a lot of efforts to bring them. And I started giving an example, example which I learned somewhere, that, for example, if your son is getting 18 science and 19 maths, or 65 in science and 19 maths, his strength is in maths. But where you focus, we focus on that science, which is 65. Put tuitions on science, ask him to work hard on science, and he ranged from 65 to 68, which is very difficult for him. Whereas maths, he's at 90. If you just focus on maths, he can get to 98, 99 very fast. And somehow it clicked with my clients. And they felt good about this. When you talk about positives and you say, let's build positives, let's not talk about negative, we'll manage them, they start feeling good. And suddenly there is a lot of positivity around this. And my client, either for training or for consulting, they started focusing on that. And it also helped me getting into, later on coaching with Gallup for them, because then we get into conversation and talk about this, that what is this? And I ask them to go ahead with the top 5, and they start talking. So I think my whole approach towards business has changed post Gallup, and it has been helping me and my clients a lot. I would sometimes I joke, I say, my conversion has increased because now I talk about positive things than negative things with my client. I don't go and say, your manager is not doing this, let's improve this. I go and say, your manager is doing good, let's build it further. That's how it has been helping me.
Interesting, very interesting. I was really, because I know you've done a lot of business consulting and process and all of that. So I just wanted to see how you were able to merge it. And I think what you said clearly resonates with me as well. I mean, it's just about changing the approach and then taking strengths from there. So tell me a little bit more. So when you get into an organization where you're consulting, and I believe you're doing a lot of consulting with owner managed companies, so which are slightly smaller and more traditional in that sense, at least when it comes to India. What is your general approach like when you come in, and what does it mean to coach people around the area of strengths-based development, especially in a setting like that?
So Pooja, I'll little go back, and I say, when I completed my course and did my those coaching assignments and given exam and got my certification. Now I thought I have to have much more conviction. So first thing what I did is, my entire organization, they did their top 5.
Okay.
The leaders did their full strength course. And once I did that and created that grid of, team grid, it was an eye opener for me. So I'll give you an example. When I did that, I have a particular leader who was handling a particular business. And in that business, whenever it was a HR consulting business, whenever there is something, a new client comes in or new task comes in, there is a huge thing happening. Quickly, there's a lot of energy and action starts. And then it fizzles out after some time. And, there's never measure of success or timelines, nothing is there. But first initial days, a lot of energy, a lot of everything. And I got into this, top 5, and I saw, this leader has activator and command as top 2. And in this entire team, there's nobody who has a focus and achiever. Now it helped me understand, okay, can I mix these two strengths? So I put another senior person in those tasks, which has got achiever in that. So now what used to happen, this activator person used to activate my things very fast, and achiever used to make sure that we are on track. So that is how, so this is the learning happened. And my learning with my own organization, my conviction became stronger and stronger. And, then I was very confident. And I would say to everybody, before going to clients, before going to individuals for coaching, you have to really imbibe this. Your conviction has to be very strong, and you have to have that confidence and knowledge about whole science, so that you can go and then pitch it right. Now coming to how do I approach then? So my approach basically is how I'm in my business, how I'm bringing in Strengths Finder, Gallup. That's what you're asking, Pooja?
Yeah. So my question was more around that once you're in an organization. So, I mean, I'm talking about now the one-on-one coaching. So when you get into coaching around the area of strengths-based development, how has that been for you? I know you're doing a lot of coaching. You were telling me right before this that a lot of coaching is happening. So tell me a little bit about that.
So basically, it's a conversation. We start with the CEO of the company or the business leader of the company, and as a practice, in our signature, which we picked up, we have top 5 in signature. And many times it happens that person asks me, what is this, Aseem? What are these strengths? When I get mails from your office, there are different people. That is one. I gift books to these guys. I buy a book on Strength Finder and I gift it to them, and they got interested, and then naturally they start talking to me about this. What is this, Aseem? How it
I have a
happens?
quick question before we get into that. And, it just came to mind because, when you're talking about a large organization and the organization decides to invest in the idea of strengths-based development, it's slightly different. But again, coming to your forte of owner-managed companies, now here is this one person who will take a call whether or not this gets done, this gets implemented. So how easy or difficult is it for you to sell the idea of strengths and strengths-based development in a context or an environment like that?
So I'll say it's easier, but it's lengthier.
Hmm.
So finding out that guy who would be keen in investing is difficult. So if I approach 100 people, I may end up 10 people interested. But these 10 people, when they are interested, closing is very fast because he's the decision maker. He's the man who has money, authority, and need. So he quickly take decision. He pass through himself, and if he likes it, he immediately say, "Acha bhaiya, okay, let's do for all of us. Why don't you do it for my leaders also? It's fantastic. It's very good." So that's how it happens. So I would say, compare if I have to compare it with a large organization, it's easier to convey them about this concept, and it's easier to make them go ahead with this.
Okay. So tell me more now. Let's get into the coaching that you've been done. So your journey as a strengths coach, I mean, business consultant was always there. So tell me a little bit about your journey as a strengths coach post the certification.
Yeah. So very interesting. When I got confident in 5 to 6 months time that now we should approach clients and we should do, and we are 3-4 of us who got certified in my organization or my associates, and we started approaching people, and then it was difficult initially, right? When you approach individual, it becomes very difficult. So we took the route through team coaching, right? So we said we shown that team grid to them and said, these are the domains, and this is how your team is, how it is. So we generated interest from there. In fact, I approached some large organizations also with that, which are MNCs, and they also got very excited. And then we conducted a one-day workshop around that. Once we conduct a one-day workshop around that and we do a team grade, it generates a lot of interest in everybody's mind. And then the leader ends up saying, what next? And that's where we say, okay, let's go for one-to-one coaching so that you are able to build these talents into strengths. And while building these, you will be able to understand, appreciate them better. You'll be able to appreciate your people also better. And that's how we build it up. So the route for me was more from a workshop for a team and then getting leaders on that, one-to-one coaching. So that's how I built it up.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about if any examples that you'd like to share on certain maybe sessions or team sessions that were particularly very, very impactful for the team concerned.
Sure. So let me share 2 typical examples. One is for the team, where we did just a workshop and a team grade, top 5, and one with the owner, one with the CEO of an organization. It's an owner-managed organization, but set up professionally now, 15-year-old organization, and CEO of the organization. So while we are doing consulting with them, and we started talking, and he got interested, and he said, Aseem, I would like to go ahead with this Gallup strength test. And we said, okay, go ahead. And he gone ahead, and he was facing a particular challenge at that time. There's a lot of attrition happening. And he was saying, I'm not able to understand why so much of attrition happening. So there is no link between attrition and Gallup strength test at that time. But very interestingly, when we got his top 5, and his top 5, the top 2 were connectedness and futuristic. Now he said connectedness, futuristic, but when I went into session with him, and we realized that the edges of connectedness and futuristic was very strong in him. The basements were very strong. So what was happening? He was very philosophical whenever there is a news, because of his connectedness. When people are coming back to him with a news or some challenge or something, he become very philosophical, and he step on the line of authority. He goes down and start talking to people. He becomes too preachy, and people under him used to feel, we are not getting the right practical answers. And they get confused and they're not able to perform, right? And similarly in futuristic, he will change things very fast. but employees take time, and he was at a senior level. He was more experienced than his team members. And so when we started talking and he started working on them, and he started appreciating these, basements in him, and he said, okay, let me work on them. And now 3 months. So within 2.5 months, after 2 sessions, things started changing. And he himself is a very aware guy, knowledgeable, and so he really appreciated them and said, okay, and it started helping him. His relationship with his team members became better. He became a little patient, started hearing about them. He's not always in future and and preachy. He started thinking about practical, started looking at their view. He started asking them. It changed. And it really impacted, and he got so happy. And he has given a very good appreciation about this. I'll share with you guys about Gallup-Strengths. He said, okay, now today, you know what? We have ended coaching with him. 4 sessions we did. And now we are doing coaching with 12 more people under him, which are the leaders. So his total organization has now converted into a strength-based organization. Their signatures have top 5, and they talk in this language. And incidentally, we are also doing employee engagement survey Q12 next month. So I think one guy who had this problem, and when linked this problem and did coaching, it has totally transformed his thought process. He's looking at his organization, looking at his people, and today he's talking about engagement, talking about working on strengths. That's the impact which it has created, Pooja,
That's a very, very impactful story. That's goes it just goes to show that what you said for yourself, that the self-awareness part is crucial before you can actually go ahead and roll it out. So for that guy to get the understand it for himself. And what makes me happier, it will be a strange thing, what makes me happier is that you were able to link something like connectedness, which is one of those talents which most people struggle with understanding for a long period of time, because we just don't know how it manifests in the business scenario. But to talk about some of the edges there and to sort of capture it, I think was brilliant. That was really, really nice.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit more about the team thing now.
So this is another organization. So they have multiple hotels with them, and so the Indian leader, he approached me once, and he said, Aseem, I want to have a workshop where my team is not gelling well. My team, they don't appreciate each other, and there is a lot of issues happening in them. So we thought about a lot of stuff and said, okay, let's do a 1-day workshop on team. So we asked them to go for top 5, and they did top 5, and after that we created their grade. We conducted a whole day workshop. And by the end of the workshop, they were quite happy about knowing about themselves, and more happy about knowing about others, and also understanding why this particular person is behaving like this or responding like this. And after doing this on the team grid, then this guy wrote me back and he said, I have done a little change in my team. So what he did on the basis of these 4 domains and how his team was placed, and that they were working in group, exactly what I did in my organization. So he looked at that, and he reshuffled his team members, and he suddenly impacted his results. And he has shared a case study with us, and he has also shared a kind of appreciation with us that, how knowing about strengths for his team leader, his leaders, his team, and how reshuffling them for projects has helped in a huge manner. So that's another story. And this we have not gone into any one-to-one coaching, but that's this one workshop and appreciation about each of the strengths. It has been helping.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and he clearly shared that it has impacted into his business. Maximizer always comes very strong in me, and I always say, whatever we are doing, it should impact your business. It should impact your processes, so that's the end result everybody's looking at. And particularly owner managers, they ask question, okay, I'm going to go ahead with this. How are you going to impact my business? I'm going to get my top line or bottom line better. So and this guy also, although this was from an MNC, but this guy also told me, Aseem, it has resulted into better conversion for me. It has resulted into better relationship between leaders. So just imagine knowing about strengths and appreciating them can create so much of positivity among team also, between team all members also.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So very interesting. I mean, examples are so practical, and your experience has actually been, one that is not just limited to the idea of coaching, but actually merging it with consulting, which is interesting in its own way. So, from that perspective, Aseem, share with us any tips, any techniques, any tools that you have used to sort of bridge that gap in which you help people see that's a question we get asked very often. What's the ROI of investing in strengths? So while you can quote research, while you can talk about the intuitive good things that happen if you focus on your strengths, sometimes you need to have certain techniques that will give them what they need to hear. So share with
Sure.
us something that you think works well.
Uh, sure, Pooja. So I can share what worked well for me, as you rightly
Mm,
said. So first of all, when you are going ahead for Gallup, learning in Gallup, don't worry about ROI.
mm,
It would come much bigger and faster. Don't do this program, don't do this workshop by thinking about business. Do this workshop about knowing yourself, getting to know your strengths, your natural talents, and finding out what you are doing and why you are doing. Once you do that, you know, don't focus on ROI. Don't worry, that will come. Second part, before approaching to clients or before talking about this to anybody, your conviction and knowledge has to be very strong. Do as many as guinea pig you want to do in your family and friends. You guys won't believe, how many my friends and family people have gone through this and I've spent time with them. Sometimes they used to say, we are not able to understand or see what you're talking. I said, don't worry, I'm practicing.
mm,
You are going to enjoy this. Once that conviction in you, when that knowledge is you, and when you can correlate this, when you approach, then when I approached, I never pushed this. I never sold this product as a product or a process I just talked about this. I said, you know what, you know about Gallup, do you know about strengths we have? Do you know we create results more with our strengths? And this is what I do, and I share my story with them. You know what happened, I share. I never knew, this is in me. And then when I start sharing this story with them, start talking, they got interested. So, and they start asking, so how can we know about our strengths? And that's the point I say, okay, why don't you do this top five? And sometimes I just send them a code and they say, why don't you do it? And naturally, when they do it, they get the report. It's very interesting. Now they have more questions in their mind and they start asking. And that's where I start talking to them. So
mm,
that leads to ultimately leads to business. So my
mm,
my one line would be, it is such a good thing. Let's not sell it as a business.
mm,
Let's sell it as a concept. Let's sell it as a knowing yourself, and it works. So
mm,
I don't remember if I have sent any proposal or any quotation or any email to anybody in a formal way. It always
mm,
happens over talk, and sometimes I go and do the one coaching to the leader of the organization, and I just tell him, why don't you just do it and understand this? If you find it good, and it is something everybody find very valuable.
mm. So let me phrase this slightly differently. So, one is
Yeah.
the ROI when people ask you a stated one, which is not the case, and I get that. Um, does it happen very often that your clients would come with you with a stated goal, challenge, or an objective that you would then craft a strategy around using the idea of strength? So more like, we have a goal in mind which is already there, or a challenge, let's say a
Mm.
conflict within a team,
Yeah.
or like you said, attrition, maybe in some cases. In some cases it could be, a changing environment, whatever the case may be. But working with a goal in mind and crafting a strategy that's based on strengths around that, does that also happen sometimes?
Yes, it does happen. And a lot of time, as I shared with you, people want to focus on results. People
Hmm.
want to focus on goals. So generally I ask them, so what do you feel, what you need to achieve these goals? What
Hmm.
kind of competency, what kind of things you need to do? And then that's where I pitch in about strengths and I start talking to them. And,
Hmm.
and that's how it gets it. So I say, if you have to achieve these, you have to take care of these challenges, you have to achieve, you should know what is best in you. How do
Hmm.
you find what is best in you? So you
Hmm.
can find what is best in you by
Hmm.
going ahead with this top five, and then we can
Hmm.
build on them. So you're
Hmm.
absolutely right, Pooja, that happens.
So one is, of course, like you said, you have 3 or 4 touch points when it comes to coaching around the idea of strengths-based development. Any ideas or techniques or tips that you can share that you've used to institutionalize this in an organization's once you're done with your assignment? So, you move out, but then how do you sort of ensure that the thing still stays on and people still find the whole thing visible and helpful? Is there any way to do that?
So I would say, Pooja, it's just 1.5 years we are doing, and wherever
Yeah,
we are doing, we are still involved. But I think
involved.
it's a good question. It's a very good question, and I must think about this, that when you move out, how this stays there.
Yeah,
I have to think around that, but I
yeah,
have not experienced that as yet, because
yeah,
all the clients
yeah.
we are right now, we are involved with them, because it's not.
Mm,
I've not done. I have done individual coaching where I have left them with the actionable
mm,
and everything,
mm,
which they have noted it
mm,
down.
mm,
And
mm,
after third or fourth session, they never come back to me. But in an
mm, mm,
organization,
mm.
no right answer right now. But yes,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
food
no,
for thought for me.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Jim, do we have any questions from the chat room?
You always catch me off guard on that one. Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
do.
know I do.
I always have to unmute my mic. JB had asked there, Aseem, any advice that you have found that you where you've had something you've done for yourself where it's been the biggest impact to your coaching? Something you've done as you've come to this. You did a great job, by the way, of just walking through your top 5. That's like some of the best top 5 explanation. I mean, talk about knowing yourself. That was awesome. But anything you're doing that's for yourself providing impact for your coaching?
I think I'm investing more and more in Gallup. I'm reading books in Gallup. I'm looking at Theme Thursdays. I'm talking to people. I'm meeting people. We have created a group here. We will share exchanges, and all this, is helping me becoming better day by day as a coach. Circumstances, situations, when different coach come and they share. We have a system here in Delhi. We have a group of coaches, and we, generally we talk to each other. So how's your experience? So that's how I think I'm building an overall knowledge base in me, and I'm very keen to invest time to understand if there is anything happening, and if I have to go out and meet somebody, that's what I'm doing. But if you have to ask me any specific thing I have done, I won't be able to pinpoint that.
Okay. Do you have a mentor that you look to, or someone that you're working with that provides some of that coaching for you?
No, I don't have specifically any mentor.
Okay. And then
I think
JB,
my mentors were Pooja and,
yeah.
when
Sure.
they did training, and after that, what I learned out of them, and questions we have, we write them mail and they answer. And then there's so much on the web, you have so many people talking so many things. You have any challenge, you just go to the web, you ask a question. I think that way, as an organization, Gallup is fantastic.
Yeah, we try to create a community that folks could feel very, very comfortable in and be able to pull those combined resources of the crowd in from that standpoint to be very helpful. With some 7,000 people in our Call to Coach group alone on Facebook, a couple thousand in our Yammer group, we try to make that a group to provide that kind of feedback or mentoring or ideas along those lines. So JB also asked, do you ever return to check up on your clients? Pooja, you kind of alluded to this. I wasn't sure if it was answered. So if so, how often do you talk to them? And how does that conversation go after an engagement? Have you gone back to check up on them?
Yes. I maintain that as a businessman also, it's very important for me, because that also generates a lot of references. So I generally stay in touch with them through email. So anything new comes in, any new article, anything new which is worth sharing, I share with them. And at times I just pick up the phone and say, so what's going on, how it's going on, and I try to talk in a strength language. So I'm in touch with them, most of them. So whatever people we have coached as an organization or as an individual, we go back to them.
And do you have a standard frequency in which you do that, or do you kind of individualize it by the client because they have different needs?
So there's no standard. It depends on the client's need. It depends on the level of coaching which took place and the interest of the client. So it's a very individualized approach, and it also depends on the coach. So as I shared, I have 4 people in my organization. We have got together. We are doing it. It also depends on the coach how he wants to do it.
Yeah. Do you guys do any coaching with entrepreneurs?
Yeah, largely I have been. That's owner manager company entrepreneurs. That's my forte. That's the area. So whatever we have done, I think 80% we have done with entrepreneurs.
And then do you get a commitment for a certain number of sessions when you're coaching with an entrepreneur?
Yes, we get one basic session in the first session, which is a little lengthier, which takes 2 hours time, and then 3 more sessions, 1 hour each. So we do 1 plus 3. So it's a 4-month commitment from that guy.
And then when you mentioned this before about you said it twice or maybe even 3 times about putting the top 5 in the signature of email, so like people know, right? Any other items like that you found that helps continue to keep that strengths conversation going throughout the organization? Here at Gallup, we post top 5 or top 10 outside our offices, but anything else you've found really helpful in keeping that conversation going in an organization or in a small business?
Yeah, we do that. So one we create a small certificate which everybody puts on their table. You know, we got from Gallup. We also create their name cards. We do that, and sometimes we ask them to create some posters. And these guys have created very nice posters. They put their posters. So in my organization, I have done that. In organizations where we are working, we are doing the same thing, because it is very important that this should remain top of their mind, because it will take some time to become a habit. It will take some time to get into them, because initially you're very excited and you find it very good, but then if it really has to work for you, there has to be reinforcing which should take place. And for reinforcing, there has to be conversations, there has to be articles. And sometimes, also what we have done, we have said, okay, once in 3 months, people who have gone through that get together in an organization, talk about how the things went with you and share with us. So in 2 organizations we have done that, and it is going. They have done 2 sessions in last 3 months. They sit together, they talk about their strengths, they give feedback to each other. We said, why don't we start creating a appreciative inquiry? Whenever you see a person using that strength, why don't you go and give him a yellow stick, post it and put it there, even if you don't want to say it. Okay, so I liked it, you use this. So these are the things which we are using, which we were taught also. So that has been helping in keeping it live.
Pooja, those are the questions so far from the chat room at this point. There's some good ones tonight. We've got some good folks out there listening along. Pooja, don't forget that you've muted your mic as well. So when you come back in here.
I had forgotten.
It happens. It happens. So if you've got one more question, we'll give the chat room just a second to ask a few more while they're out there. But come up with one more and we'll let the chat room, because you've got one more.
And I was more alluding to telling you that one is, of course, we have great people in the chat room. The second thing is, I think Aseem's experience has been so practical and hands-on that it's just solicited all of these things that most people try to do, and this practical advice coming from a guy who's been there, done that. So Aseem, thank you for all the examples and techniques and tips that you've shared with us. It's been very helpful, at least for me, to hear some of the applicability in organizations that are smaller and organizations that are, like you said, the larger ones as well. So it's been good listening to your examples.
One more question just came in. JB asked, are you using our EP10 tool for entrepreneurial at all?
I have done my own EP10, and I'm very keen. But what I gathered that right now we have not introduced in India, but I'm very keen. And in fact, whenever I meet anybody in Gallup, I ask questions when we are getting EP10 in India. It's a fantastic tool for entrepreneurs, and I'm sure it's going to create a lot of business opportunity, and it is going to add a lot of value to the entrepreneurs. But honestly, I have only done for myself being an entrepreneur, and but I have not done for any of my clients today.
Yeah, it's a growth.
Anxiously here in India for EP10, Aseem, and you'll probably be the first to know. But yes, we're waiting very anxiously for it to come, and we're all very, very excited about it, and we're hoping it will come sooner rather than later. But in Gallup's own way, we don't like to launch anything before it's perfect. So that's the reason why.
That's the question I asked Jim Clifton. He said, anything you want in India? I said, I want EP10. And he gave me the same answer. He said, we have to have data and we have to perfect it for Indian market, but we are waiting.
Yes.
Yeah, we do indeed. And we're working hard on that here in the United States as we roll that out. And some changes coming as well. In fact, we'll have an update here, I think on the 16th. I'm doing an update with Todd Johnson. There's some additional new information coming out about that. It's just as we get new data and we fill those pieces in. Let me ask you one more question with your team. So you've got this team that are working with you. How often do you guys spend some time just as a team getting together, reflecting as a team in your own team grid and how you guys are laid out and how that works together. Sometimes we forget about that. We get so busy in the business of coaching, we forget that we're part of that team as well. Have you guys found anything really helpful in keeping that team kind of in synergy?
So this is the team of Gallup coaches we have.
The coaches that work with you. You said you've got some.
So we very structuredly meet once in a month, and we spend half day once in a month. In fact, today after this, we are meeting together. We are going to talk. We're going to share our experiences, what went well, what could have been better, and we update our knowledge every month. Once half day, we spend 4 of us together, and if required, we invite somebody or we talk to somebody from our group here in India. So many times we have asked questions on that WhatsApp group. We have asked questions on email to people and we got the answers. So it is helping. So structurally, every month, 4 to 5 hours we spend together.
No, that's great. And then Kate asks, are they all certified as well?
Yes.
From the chat room? Okay.
Yes.
There you go. All right. I think this might be the best questions we've gotten from the chat room in a while. So if you guys are listening out there, thank you for joining us live. Pooja, anything else as we wrap this up?
I have nothing at my end. I think I'm done with my questions. All
righty. Aseem, thank you for taking the time today to be a part of this. It's great. We're looking forward. You'd mentioned before that you're coming out. Hopefully, we'll get to see you during the summit. I missed you the last time in the United States, but always good to connect with you. I think we'll see a few more from India, Pooja, this year, now that we've given everybody a year of notice. And so we hope to see and meet a lot of people this summit. I was mentioning this in the pre-show. Some 650 last year. I think we'll say 700, but let's just say between 650 and 700. I think we could have 2,000 this year. Now, I'm not going to jinx it with that, but it's going to be a lot. I'll remind folks that has opened up. So if you're interested, if you're listening to this and you are interested in the summit, just head out to CliftonStrengthsSummit.com and all the information to register is there. I'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we have available at the Gallup Strengths Center as well, just GallupStrengthsCenter.com. You can send us your questions or comments if you'd like to be a guest blogger. We do accept applications for that as well. We're not able to take everyone or every blog that's put in, but send that blog to us, coaching@gallup.com, 400 to 600 words or so. In a strengths-related topic is what we're looking for. You can also catch, so send that to coaching@gallup.com and put guest blogger in the subject line. You can also catch the recorded audio and video of this one as well as all the other past programs, including the links to our Facebook group, YouTube page. I mentioned the Facebook group earlier, a big group that if you're not in it, you should be. YouTube page, our iTunes and RSS feeds, iPhone and Android apps, as well as all of the information that we have. A lot of stuff that we mentioned on that page. Head out to coaching.gallup.com. If you're interested in becoming a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach, you can also see a complete list of all our courses. Pooja, I'm going to put you on the spot here in just a second if we've got anything coming up. Courses.gallup.com is where you can check anything we want to highlight in India.
Couple of things actually. We have the next certification course, which is actually starting next week in Bangalore. It's the week of the 14th November, but that's sold out. I think the next certification coach would probably be in 2017. However, we're very excited about we might be actually planning an alumni meet for the coaches here in India as well very shortly. So I'm sure everyone will get to hear about that soon as well. Good.
Well, it's always worth going to. So pay attention, I guess, is what we're saying to what's going on with the communication in our groups and everything. And again, if you want to get a complete list of all our courses and as they're available this very second, head out to courses.gallup.com. If you found this helpful, we'd ask that you share it. We'll thank everyone for joining us today. We'll look forward to the next Call to Coach. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.